Senator Hernandez to repeal Proposition 209 by way of his Senate concurrent resolution SCA 5. And it was pretty much a disaster because that particular bill was flawed. And then, unfortunately, many folks in the Chinese community, particularly in Cupertino, went on a tirade against what he was trying to do, which was to open up opportunities for more students in California. I think if anyone gives serious thought to repealing 227 or tweaking it, I think there has to be a fair amount of research and care as to what needs to be repealed and where are you going with it, and what are the definitions. Messaging is so challenging today because folks have access to the internet, blogging, all sorts of social media platforms, that if you don't get on top of it immediately to define the issue, the problem, and solution, you're going to be behind. I think it would be interesting and challenging to look at the repeal or look at another way of encouraging foreign language access for California students, because I think none of us argue how important it is for the future of our state, both socially, economically, and politically.
There is a lot of research that's been done since 227 passed on teacher development and what it does to teachers, the insidious position that they have to take with regards to being afraid of trying to use the native language or a foreign language with students is by far what none of us can even imagine that it's done over the last 10 years. And I think that the most compelling movement we need to move towards is not being afraid to use the other language, because it's a kind of a scary position that teachers are in. They're afraid of stepping out of the bounds of doing this. And I wanted to point something out that I think we forget. The language survey, home survey that was done in 1978 when Ricardo Cornejo and others, when we were doing the linguistic proficiency tests, the survey that we generated at that time, the home language is still being used. It's the same survey. However, we haven't paid attention to the increase in the changes over time. And in 1978, there were 45 languages identified other than English in the state of California. That included Portuguese, French, and the indigenous languages and everything else. That was before the waves of big waves of immigrants, populations that came to California. So that's something to reflect on, and also something to consider with regards to the fact that we are all fearful of speaking our native languages within schools, within institutions. And if you examine what people at the universities are doing, if you write something in a language other than English, you are not given credit for that. It doesn't matter how erudite and intellectual that is, you are not considered for promotion if you write in another language. So it's at all levels. It's at all levels that we are fearful of developing our academic skills in our native languages or in another language other than English.
We have 1 minute to go. Let everybody out early for good behavior, and please join me in thanking the panel. It was wonderful.
Hold on 1 second. If you're here to get credit for continuing education, please remember to sign out. Otherwise, we'll have trouble giving you your full credit. Thank you.
No, one another half an hour. You still have half an hour?
Excuse me, one more thing, please. This is a beautiful facility, and we'd like to keep it that way. If you have any bottles or used trash, anything like that, please dispose of it right there in the far corner of the next room. Thank you.
Oh, good. It was at CCF, but good. Oh, good. Oh, California Community. Oh, my God. Hello. See you on Monday. Yes. I'll see you on Monday. How are you? Sorry, I have to catch a flight. So I gotta go. Sure.
I'm sorry, my friend. I'm good. I truck out here, so I know how much did you drive down?
Hi, everybody. We have one last thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Closing speech from the Deputy Superintendent of the State of California, Lupita Alcala, sorry, and she's here already. And after that, then we'll have a reception in the back here. So hang on, Henry is going to chair this session. And Henry, in case you do not know, actually was the Deputy Superintendent of the State of California for quite a few years.
Right.
Okay, if everyone can sit down, we'll get started again. You know, it's kind of funny. I actually got 2 name tags. So I'm supposed to change name tags. So this one was for Freedom's Fund, and the other one, name tag, has my affiliation as formerly with the Department of Ed. But since we're short of time, and you all are pretty tired, we want to hear our last speaker. I'm going to not put on his second name tag. But anyway, it gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce our closing speaker, Lupita Cortez Alcala. Lupita is currently serving as the Deputy Superintendent of Public Instruction at the Department of Education in Sacramento. And she has the day-to-day responsibility to head up the instruction and learning support branch at the Department of Ed. And it's really that branch that has oversight responsibility for English, math, support for English language learners, and the arts and everything that you can think of from a curriculum perspective. Prior to holding this position at the Department of Ed, she actually held the position of Deputy Superintendent of Public Instruction in the Government Affairs Branch, where actually I started when I went up to Sacramento in 1996. And in that particular position, she had responsibility to shepherd all state and federal legislative affairs for the State Superintendent of Public Instruction. And before she served at the Department of Ed in Sacramento, she actually served as the Deputy Legislative Secretary for former Governor Gray Davis. And in that position, she also had to monitor and advise the governor on every legislative proposal for K-12 and higher ed legislation. So she has a wealth of knowledge, background, and experience with state and federal education issues. She's a graduate of UC San Diego, and she got her master's degree at Harvard. So without any further ado, we would like to ask Lupita to come up here and share with us what's going on in Sacramento and what we can look forward to.
Well, it's a pleasure for me to be here. Thank you so much, Mr. Durr. I hate to follow the esteemed Henry Durr. I bring you greetings on behalf of the State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tom Torlakson. And I know I'm holding you between between me and this wonderful reception at the cafe. So I will try to be interesting, but brief, maybe more brief than interesting inside at the end of the day. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, if you don't know me, I teach a lot of really great friends and colleagues here today, but some of you might not know me, and I was an immigrant as well, like many of you. I was born in Tijuana, Mexico, and I came to this country when I was 3 years old. With my family, we settled in Southern California. And I came as an immigrant child, learning English as well, and primarily, my primary language was Spanish, and I'm the youngest of 4. And I attended kindergarten, right when you're 5 years old, but without English or preschool. And so it was a mainstream English-only classroom. So I was, by all accounts, an English learner, and I think I still am. So like many of you, I'm always going to be continuing my language acquisition. But I stand before you as the Deputy Superintendent of Public Instruction over instruction and learning. So I like to joke that while I flunked kindergarten, because I did, I am a successful graduate of Harvard University School of Education. So something went right. But the loud decision was fought for students like me and many of you. The State Superintendent and the Department of Education were really committed to giving every English learner in California that promise fulfilled. So I'd like to give you a global view of the state of California. So we have 6.2 million children, K-12 students. About 60% of them come from low-income families. About 1.4 million, or 23% or so, are English learners. And then another 1.2, while they may be fully fluent English proficient, they speak another language at home. So a good